Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Wednesday edition of Star Wars Lads. We are not going to do comics this week because there aren't any comics, so we are going to be doing another tier list. We haven't done one of these for a while. It's been probably about 6 weeks, so we're going to dive into one here. And this is our first one we're going to do together on screen, and it's going to be bounty hunters and smugglers, focusing mostly on canon because there will be so many if we include legends. So we're going to stick to canon and some of the random ones here in canon as well. We're going to dive in now, but before we do so, please hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel for Star Wars content 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you haven't checked out our Book of Boba Fett coverage, we covered the entire show as well as the possible season 2. And then comment below, let us know what you thought of these rankings and how you would rank them, who would be in your top tier here. So before we get started, we also so I have to explain the tiers because usual I like to do quotes on these. So my S tier, which usually is a top 5 for me, is like a bantha, the infamous quote currently out of Book of
Oh,
Boba Fett.
it's great.
And then I don't work for free, which I specifically picked from Cad Bane, but I think a bunch of people have said it over the course of Star Wars. Another new Mandalorian / Boba Fett quote. Well, if that isn't the quack to calling the stifling slimy, I feel like that's a pretty mid tier type of thing. It's insulting. Second to last tier, stuck up, half-witted, scruffy looking nerf herder. And then my favorite that I will always use for every tier list as the last tier. Well, that smells stinker whiff by my friend Jar Jar Binks. Okay, so now to get into it, I guess we'll start off with an interesting one here, and we kind of have to talk about the parameters as well. Like, we could look at this as the best characters, or kind of like we did with Jedi and Sith, which is the most powerful or most competent at their job in this context, I would say, and of which changes Han Solo's narrative quite drastically here, because I don't think Han Solo is a particularly great smuggler, but he is one of the best characters in Star Wars. So that kind of changes the narrative here. I'm looking at, for me, I mean, it's hard to put Han Solo anything lower than like the second highest tier for me, the I don't work for free tier, but I don't know if he's quite a top 5.
Yeah, he's definitely not a top five. I mean, he does have to literally dump spice because of the Imperials careening into him. Then again, Solo Star Wars stories kind of makes it very clear just how dumb and reckless he is. Like he kind of does it to himself to a degree.
Yeah,
But I think he's still capable. I mean, you don't just become so beloved by Jabba until you like push it too far, right? He's like one of those guys he does enough until he just like falls off the deep end for even Jabba to be like, all right, I'm tired of you.
exactly. Yeah, he keeps himself relevant for a good 10 years before A New Hope, and even in The
Yeah.
Force Awakens, he's swindling, and he's got his Raptor shipment. So yeah, let's I vote for the second highest tier that I don't
Yeah,
work for
I
free.
agree. I agree.
All right. Starting off on a strong note here. Okay, we've got him Dazon from the Cantina here.
His head pops up, and we know that.
He is the first character we see in the Cantina, which is
Yeah.
pretty prestigious there. Uh, I would say I think he's a slimy stiffling.
Oh, okay. Probably put him as a stuck up, half witted, scruffy looking nerf herder. Just because like
It's fair.
it's a great intro, but I don't know if he's like one
Does
tier
anything?
below Han Solo. Like
That's
that's
true.
getting a
That's
little
true. When
too
you put it in
close.
context there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that. He's a nerf
Yeah.
herder.
Oh, yeah,
Hondo.
Hondo.
So
Oof.
that's another one, kind of like Han, where he's like at times very incompetent, but at other
Yeah.
times like he uses that incompetence or the way people look at him incompetently to do a better job than anyone thinks he possibly could do. So I don't know. That's a
Yeah,
tough
I
one.
mean he's imprisoned Count Dooku, right? At
Yeah.
one point. Like he and Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like he knows what to do when he has to do it. I don't know. I want to say he's third tier, like the quack, the con, the stiffling slimy, because I feel like his bigger successes have kind of been more of these grand like heists almost, like these
Hmm.
big, almost like politically motivated things that are happening. He doesn't really do much in Rebels either. Like he's kind of just running and escaping with Ezra. I wouldn't say he's a successful like smuggler by any means. He he still got it, but like he's definitely like dropped a peg. And in his own heyday, he wasn't necessarily smuggling as his top priority.
Right. Yeah, that's where it gets a little into semantics here with this type of tier list. With what is he, a pirate? Is he a smuggler? Is he a bounty? Like, what does he really do? He kind of does it all. He does whatever gets him money, which I guess is the spirit of this list. I would push for him in the second tier with Han.
I want to say just because he's had such a drop off between the prequel era to the original era, and it's way more than Hans is from the original era to the sequel era. I want to say third tier. You know, the quack they're calling the stiffling slimy. That's me though. I could be
Okay.
persuaded to be the Han Solo level.
Let's put him there for now since we don't have anybody, and then at the end we'll
Yeah, we're gonna
we'll
just
relook at it. So we've got IG-11 next. IG-11, pretty great for when he's on screen. He does have more of a heart than most bounty hunters would after his reprogramming by Queel. This is again
he's
where it's like,
effective. That's the
right,
thing, right? Yeah.
exactly. It's like if we're talking about competence, sheer competence, he's definitely in at least the Han Solo tier. But is is he as memorable or as grand as somebody else? I don't know.
I that's the thing, right? I want to say that he is the Han Solo tier. He's obviously not like an IG-88 in terms of name, but he is the number 2 IG at this point. He's
Right.
carved out his own space. Um, it's very nice to just see him physically like break wrists and swivel, and half the time he's like, if the job's not going right, self-destruct, right? Like he
Right.
will do what the job entails. And I think to have gone that long in his presumed existence, I would put him as a I don't work for free.
Okay, I was there too, so I'll agree with that. Let's say he doesn't work for free, and then we have IG-88 next, who I think at least should be
Yeah,
also I don't work for free. Not too
that's
many other
yeah.
comments to say about him, honestly. Like, kind of all the things we've always wanted to see we get through IG-11, but IG-88's got the prestige. Okay, this is Jaquil from the Jabba's palace scene in Return of the Jedi. Obviously, one of the more iconic Star Wars characters of all time. Easily one of the most famous as well. I think let's put him with him days on though, because he isn't quite as effective in his scene as some of the other legends around around the galaxy.
So we're saying the nerf herder.
Yeah, I think he's a nerf herder.
That's
Scruffy looking
fair.
one at that too.
Scruffy, of course, of course.
Okay, so Jango Fett.
I mean, like a bantha. I'm just saying it. Yeah,
he is like a bantha.
Like, even if there's enough of his background from the Mandalorian Wars, from just his stuff from the Bounty Hunter game, and just the legacy that he's literally left on the galaxy. You know, the fact that he could get paid that much by Count Dooku, like that's not a small amount, right? Like he seriously must be that incredible, that epic. And I mean, he looks
Absolutely.
cool. Yeah.
He's definitely he's kind of like the original bounty hunter on at least in canon. Like he's kind of our template for everything, not just the clones. So yes, Jango the Fett is like a bantha. Okay, so here we've got Amari from the Aftermath trilogy, who does make a name for herself really in those books. She is one of my favorite parts of those books. Her consistency and her relationship with like Sinjir and the rest of those characters. She is one of the characters that's given a nice little arc throughout. One of the better written characters, I would say. And so it's close. I would probably put her with say she's a stiffling slimy.
Yeah.
I don't think she's quite at the tier of these other people, but she does make an impact in the stories of the Aftermath.
She feels like a sort of lunch pail sort of gal who gets the job done, right? You know, she's good. She can be in any crew and be like, yeah, valuable. But it's not until Aftermath when she's kind of doing more heroic stuff that she's like really elevated as a character.
Okay, so we've got everyone's favorite character here, Jackson. Depending where you sit with
Stinker Whiff. Stinker Whiff. That's where I'm at.
I don't have enough of a relationship with Jackson to really argue with that. But
yeah,
and I have not an
Look,
avid reader of
no,
of the Star Wars Adventures line
no,
either.
no hate to people who've like known him since like the 70s and the original Marvel line and all that. He just, he just, it's literally like taking Bugs Bunny and downgrading him and putting him into Star Wars, and it feels very much like Jar Jar humor, like poop humor, like oh, it's
Yeah,
on my rabbit, and I'm like, okay, great. And so is like half of this like alien species that are based off of like real animals and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah, I'd put him pretty low.
Okay, this is Cabe. I have a toy of Cabe, so I've always enjoyed Cabe. It's a Chadrafan, so
Yes.
we've got that, and it's Cabe. Cabe is another good character from the Cantina. I
Oh
like him
yeah.
better than Jackson.
Oh,
I
for sure.
I think he's a scruffy looking nerf herder.
Yeah, yeah. I think he gets bonus points for, really, he's there for a reason, and it's to drink.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, serving it up from Wooher. Okay, we'll move on to Cytor Kalfas, who makes a nice little turn to the camera in one of the scenes there. Really impressive scene stealing moment, I would say. I would even argue for Cytor Kalfas that he is a slimy stiffling.
Oh, hmm. Yeah, you know what? I can go. I think there's just something about that design that really
Mm-hmm.
speaks to me as like, you don't want to mess with the guy. Like he
No,
might not be anything more than an enforcer on a crew, but
yeah,
anyone on that crew is going to be like, yeah, that's the
absolutely.
reason why we're alive. That's the reason we got our money. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Ketsu Onyo from Rebels. So this is a character that actually has a lot of screen time, and it's a pretty good character, I would say. Mandalorian, friends with Sabine, bounty hunter extraordinaire. One of the more memorable bounty hunters, honestly, from Rebels, I would say.
She's got a ship. That's pretty cool already,
Yeah, she
right? How many
does.
she she has history with Sabine, and she's been still kind of on this. I would put her in the Quacticon and the Stifling
That's what I
Slimy.
was thinking as well.
Yeah. Like
I think
she's
she's.
shown she's got some of it. Something, right?
I would put her ahead of the other two, but behind Hondo as well. Like
Okay.
we were ranking them.
Okay.
So we've got Lobria next. Of course, indeed a Deveronian character in here. Although the lighting could be a little better with Lobria. Uh, Not the most impactful Deveronian, I would say, in the Star Wars galaxy, but a good one nonetheless. Has a nice little smile there in the cantina scene. Looks like he's having a lot of fun.
I don't know if he's Stinker with, but he's pretty close. He's pretty
Yeah,
close.
yeah. I'd put him at the bottom of a scruffy looking nerf herder.
All right.
Like a
We can
little better
adjust
than
from
Jackson.
there.
I don't. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
adjust at the end.
Yeah.
This is Lax Sivrak. I've always loved this design, so I'm definitely gonna fight for a minimum. Quack to calling the Stifling slimy, but
Okay. Okay. No, I can live with it. I'll just put him at the end of that tier for now.
yeah. Okay, I think this is also another Lycabantha. Lando
Come on.
Calrissian.
Come on. The swindler himself, man. Like literally in his own 2015 miniseries from Charles Soule, he's sleeping with the Imperial agent who knows that he's there to like steal something from him, but she is helpless to his suave, his, mystique.
Yeah, absolutely.
God.
He's
Yeah.
like if we were doing like separate for bounty hunters and smugglers, like he's the top smuggler.
Oh yeah.
Django's up there with the top bounty hunters. So I think definitely he's up
Yeah.
there. Okay, the next one is Miyum Onith, who has a very dark shot in the cantina. I would put this character lower just because this character doesn't get much screen time. Kind of like a background to the background characters type of
Right.
thing. Like
Right.
this is a real stretch, and the only reason I'm even aware of this character is because of the toys. So yeah, it might be a stinker whiff for me.
Stinker whiff. Wow. I don't know. I feel like if you're still in the movie, you should get more credit than someone who's been cut
True.
out from the movie. Low, very low on that scale too. But hey, at least they're in the movie.
That's true. So this is a Moma Nadon, also a great name. We've gotten a lot of great Ithorians over the years. So, but this is the original. This is the original Ithorian, and it is to me one of the best designs in all of Star Wars. I love the way they speak
The
and like
hammerhead. Yeah.
absolutely, it's a classic character. Yeah, I'm gonna argue for a Stifling Slimy.
I'm on board. I mean, but there's something about like the hammerhead design that is like so iconic that it has not changed. Even with modern animatronics and all that, like
Mhm.
it's just that good. So I'm totally on board with Cracker calling the Stiflings family.
Another character I really like is Mosep Biney, the accountant at Jabba's palace. This this character is dealing with some big figures.
Was
Boba should
not
have kept him
aware.
around.
Was not aware of this guy.
This guy is so mostly you can only find him in a single shot from Return of the Jedi, a famous shot where Luke's pointing the blaster at Jabba. In the background of that, so
Mm,
Mosep Biney is kind of a legendary background character in terms of that he just exists. Like the fact that we have this
that he's
character with an
there.
actual
Yeah.
backstory who's barely in the movie at all. I love that. Also dealing with some big figures. I think Boba should have kept him around honestly for when he's running.
I'm saying Nerf herder, despite that reputation.
Yeah, despite being the
Yeah.
baddest accountant in the galaxy.
You can only
Oof.
get a leg. You got a little pant action out there at best, right?
That is a convincing argument. Or okay, let's
Yeah,
put him at the front of that category.
yeah. All right, this is one of
Okay.
my favorite guys.
Yes, this is a great design. This is Muff Talk. Originally came with Cabe in a Power of the Force dual pack. Muff Talk, I love that. So Muff Talk actually gets some dialogue in the movie. You know, we don't know what he's saying,
Hmm.
but does talk. So that is kind of a bonus. We also have just that design was made legendary for me in that episode of the Clone Wars. This species is very cool, and then we also have the original Clone Wars, that Jedi as well, with the Thorian and like those guys that protect Shakti and Palpatine.
I mean, I really like how like they look in animated Clone Wars style too on the snow planet
Hmm.
that we see with the Pentorans, right? Like that was a really fun episode for me. Obviously, getting audio in that whole montage does mean something. So,
Right.
whew, I will put I'll put him right behind Joss Amari. You know, like
Okay. We got Nabrin Leeds here, who has multiple, like 4 arms, I believe. Originally learned of this character again from the toys 3-pack with the Deveronian we had earlier, and a guy we're gonna have later, Tequil. I don't know. I never loved this design. I'm thinking scruffy looking nerf herder.
still ahead of our our Deveronian though. Until we
Okay,
get cut out of a film,
that's
the
true.
Deveronian is last.
Yeah, we can drop the Deveronian if you want, because we need some parody.
I think we'll need space eventually, but we'll give it some time.
Akana Lash from Bounty Hunters. Again, a character that plays actually a very significant role in that book for the first 6 issues. A character that's like almost kind of mentioned how big her impact is more than actually we see it, but kind of a driving force behind what the main overall plot is in that entire series.
Yeah, no, I mean, mentor to Valence, right? That's huge, but also directly contributes to like the Unbroken clan and the other clans, just whole dynamic that's playing out in the tertiary or secondary, depending on which issue of Bounty Hunter is like the storyline,
Mhm.
right? Like,
True. I would say at least C tier, or I mean B tier.
yeah,
Maybe.
I think,
Yeah, I would
oh,
say that.
do we want to put her ahead of Hondo though?
No, not ahead of Hondo for sure.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay, I'll put her ahead of Ketsu Onyo,
okay.
behind Hondo.
Okay, so the next one is Niche, which is the fake Greedo, who we see in one shot in the cantina. Kind of like who now we have a name for the original fake Wedge in the briefing scene in
Oh yeah.
A New Hope. Niche is our name for, for what was almost certainly Greedo, and then they decided to change it later. I feel bad for Niche because poor Niche has always lived in the shadow of Greedo. But again, niche doesn't make much of an impact, so maybe he should be Stinkerwolf.
I guess I'd say Stinkerwolf, which does mean that we're gonna have to also drop our Deveronian.
Ponda Baba, one of the original like scene stealers of that cantina thing, because we get the Dr. Ebazon Ponda Baba scene. Ponda Baba also has made an appearance in a second movie, which is Rogue One. So I like Ponda Baba, although he picks a fight with the wrong person. So, that
I
is,
mean, can you blame him? Like, how is he gonna expect some guy to chop off his arm? Like,
yeah, the Jedi are supposed to be long extinct. He wouldn't have expected that, even though Obi-Wan is dressed up exactly like one. Um,
right, yeah, yeah,
but Luke Skywalker, he doesn't like Luke Skywalker. Could be a strike against him, could be a strike for him, depending on what you think of Luke at the beginning of A New Hope. They've definitely racked up the body count for sure over the
right,
years. I think Ponda Baba, I would put him in Stifling Slimy.
yeah. I put him ahead of Ketsu Onyo.
Robanino from the Clone Wars. This character, I've actually, I love the first episode with Cad Bane when he takes the Senate hostage. It's one of members of Cad Bane's crew. I think this is a really good character. I don't know if I want to say like in the top 3 tiers good, but I think this is like, it's a fun episode, and this is a fun design, and this is our tech savvy hacker kind of character.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got a very interesting design. He's got gills that are kind of like a beard, a patch eye of sorts. Tech savvy, like you said. I mean, it's pretty unique, even by the Clone Wars standards. What are you thinking? I'm thinking either top of scruffy looking nerf herder or bottom of Quack the calling the Stifling Slimy.
Yeah, I would say top of scruffy looking nerf herder, I think, now for me.
Right.
But where it gets really interesting is our next character, Rum Sleg. This character walks in front of the camera one time in Phantom Menace. So, Resident Mos Espa might still be living there when Boba Fett takes control. Who knows? I would like to see the Rum Sleg return as well. Very cool skull on his
Oh
mask.
yeah.
Definitely wins style points for sure. And Rum Sleg just doesn't look like a guy you want to mess with.
I mean, sometimes it's just how do you got to dress the part, right? You got to how you do you
Exactly.
present yourself. I would put him in the third tier, maybe ahead of a
Yeah,
few people.
I like that. Rum Slag, definitely one of the, if you're watching Lucasfilm, you have a gold mine right here with this character. Everyone
Yeah.
knows who he is. You might as well just make a trilogy right now.
Oh, easily. Would Wilbur Hood as like a young protege before he goes good.
Absolutely.
Easy.
So
Yeah.
this is Rumi Paramita from the Clone Wars. I think this is an interesting character. It's kind of like, I've always kind of liked the way this character moves, and like the assassin type vibe you get. Again, not much impact from the Clone Wars. There's definitely other Clone Wars characters that make a bigger impact.
I'd put her, kind of in the middle of scruffy looking nerf herder.
Yeah,
She does
I'm
something.
thinking that too.
She does something.
Yak Face. Okay, so Yak Face for me is a legendary character purely because this is one of the most valuable Star Wars toys of all time. Yak Face, the original version of Yak Face from 1983, is one of the most expensive Star Wars toys out there. Very legendary character in that book. So legendary, got another release in the Power of the Force line in the 90s.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm fighting for at least Quack to call him Stifling Slimy with this character, but I might bump him up with his legendary status up to I don't work for free because he's very expensive.
Hey, I mean, that's a glorious nose and a glorious beard, but I don't know if he's ahead of Hondo. That's a little too
I would
much.
bump Hondo up.
I'll put him behind the Less. I think that's fair.
All right, he is an
Yeah.
expensive guy. He's very pricey. Doesn't work for free.
But
If you find him
sometimes
for
being too
free,
expensive could also mean that he's losing out on big
jobs.
hits, big
True.
hits,
Yeah.
big jobs.
If you find him for free, you're definitely winning. So next is Sarapass, who
Yes.
I've always had a soft spot for. I think this character is kind of the heart and soul of that one episode where they're defending the farmstead with all those bounty
Oh
hunters.
yeah.
Very, I mean, it's kind of like a
It's like
common sci-fi
yeah.
fantasy type of trope where like the smaller guys in the bigger armor type of thing. But
Right. But this one feels even more mecha inspired than most of them do. Like we've
mm,
seen some stuff with like Zetar and the High Republic and stuff, but
yeah,
this one just straight up feels like a mini Gundam at one point.
yeah, I like
Or
this
even
character.
Ava inspired to some degree with like the face
Yeah,
design.
true. I would put it in Quactical and Stifling Slimy.
Yeah, yeah. I
That tier's
oh
getting big though.
yeah. I mean it is the average, right? And they are the
Yeah.
average guys. Like
Shada Dukal or Shada Dukal, depending on how you pronounce it. Another character is drinking at the bar, Wooher's Bar in Chalman's Cantina. And I know we're not talking about Legends, or she's a lot bigger character in Legends, but in canon, she doesn't have much to her.
yeah. I don't know. She always kind of comes off as like a Star Wars version of a groupie to me. She's just kind of there. She's here for the vibe or the energy of the cantina. She's like someone who's like, I'm gonna be on with this band one week or this band another week. Maybe she's just there with, the jizz band, the jizz whalers going on, right? So
I like that call of her being a Figrin and Dan groupie. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, let's. I think she's a nerf herder.
yeah, she's definitely. I'll put her there. She's not the worst.
Okay, we got Sugi here. Sugi Amari. I
I
like
mean,
Sugi quite a bit.
uh,
I might put her in I Don't Work for Free.
honestly, I think so too. She's done on some very huge missions, right? For both good, for both bad. It's a little gray. She survived many things that she should have died from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she does have a bit of a legendary reputation by the time Joss begins her own career. I think I don't work for free. You're right. I think she's made it. She's qualified. Just longevity, all right? I hope
Yeah.
to see more of her at some point again, but
Taonga from Bounty Hunters. Another character that honestly I dread reading Taonga's portion of Bounty Hunters, to be
yeah.
honest. I don't know if I necessarily say she's a bad character, but it's just the most boring part for sure.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of just there for like, revenge because my brother died. All right. And she's like, oh, but I've had peaceful life with my wife. But now her wife is like, I want to be a bounty hunter. And she's like, I have misgivings. I don't know how effective you are. Even if you got like a pretty cool gang, like you're not that effective. I'm honestly, I'm gonna put her at the bottom of Scruffy looking nerf herder just because of how much she's appeared. But she's dangerously close to Stinker Whiff for me.
Yeah, I would put her there too. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
Tequil. So this is the other guy with Nabrin Leeds, and the Snaggletooth design is interesting, but this character's never really done it for me. Kind of just
Yeah.
a lot of red.
A lot of red, a lot of like a rubbery face, that doesn't do much. All right. And it's very pale looking, so you can really feel like it's fake too.
Yeah, but
So,
I don't know. I might put him in Stinker Whiff.
yeah. I think I would say he's ahead of Neef. I think the fact
Okay.
that he's his own original character wins over fake Greedo.
Okay. Tasu Leech. So Tasu Leech has been getting a lot bigger in the comics. A very interesting personality compared to what we see in The Force Awakens in the comics. To me, it doesn't exactly line up. A great scene in Force Awakens, one of my favorite scenes in Force Awakens. I think Quackda.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the raid guys. Like that alone gives you credit.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put him. I will put him behind Joss Amari. I think
Okay. Yeah.
you have to give
Go
him
with that.
some credit for showing up in comics and having a little bit of a youthful personality that always is bloodthirsty.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to speed it up here for the next few, but we've got Toro Caligan, who I think is absolute stinker with. Might be the worst of all of them.
Yeah.
Obnoxious, terrible at his job, wants to be like Mando. I might put him last.
I will give him some grace and put him before uh before Jackson. Just he's a kid. I can at least he's a kid who's dead. I'll let him have some grace.
Yeah, he's bad. He's really bad. Okay,
Yeah.
Valance. I don't work for
Ooh.
free,
I don't work for free. I really like Valance as a character.
and he's a very
Um,
competent bounty hunter.
I'll put him ahead of Suki.
Yeah.
just because of just everyone has his attention, good or bad, and high up too.
Zam is a tough one because we don't have much about her because it's not Legends, but from Legends she was a very strong character. I think in a
It's a
canon
tough one.
context, I don't know if I go above Quacktacall and the Stifling Slimy, but
No.
I could see an argument for her to be even lower because she doesn't have really anything in canon. But we
But she
might get
has
her
some.
in
She has a
Halcyon
cool
Legacy.
action sequence, like
Yeah.
the whole thing. Being a changeling also helps. So that you can assume she's done some pretty interesting missions and sorts.
Okay, Zuckus. Zuckus, I really like Zuckus. Always really liked Zuckus. I would put
He's
Zuckus and I Don't
hilarious.
Work for Free. And I think the Bounty Hunters comic and the War of the Bounty Hunters has done a great job of making him an even better character. But I've always loved
Yeah,
the design.
and the whole like force, kind of near force
Yeah,
sensitivity of him gives him a little bit of a boost.
absolutely. Gans are awesome. For LOM, I've never liked 4 LOM as much as Zuckus. So we want to put a divide between them. I would put 4 LOM at the top of Quacktacall and the Stifling Slimy. But
Oh, yeah,
always been my
I'll do
least
that.
favorite of the Empire Strikes Back Bounty Hunters, but the Bounty Hunters comic has made me like 4 LOM a lot more.
Yeah, and I think we have the verdict is still out on him in those issues specifically because he's just been recovered. Once he gets back to his body, it'll be interesting to see him be less of like a crazy murderous spider and more of
Right.
like the bounty hunter that we was originally.
So this is a Man. A
I
Man is
love
also
him.
an extremely expensive Star Wars toy, one of the rarer ones, I believe. And this character, I've always liked the way this character looks in the background of Jabba's palace. He doesn't do anything, but I've always liked the way this character looks.
I don't know. There's something about having a purely primal like species in Star Wars that does it for me. Like even amongst such tech savvy people and species, they still have a place and sometimes
Yeah,
are even crazier and more lethal. Like this is definitely a deep cut. Like Crystal Crisis, like that whole arc has its whole like the whole species there, and they're crazy and energetic and all that. So I really like him. I'll put him behind Zam. I
okay,
actually will put him ahead of
there we
Tatsu
go.
Leech.
I
Just
like that
because
a
of
lot.
such a good design. It's such a funny. It looks dumb, but it's actually great.
This design is so ridiculous. It's definitely a deep cut. This is Analong Lahette from the sequel trilogy. Uh, this character is so goofy looking, but like there is kind of like an endearing quality about the character. But I'm not opposed to Stinker with. But most of the story for this character is in the Canto Bite book.
I would put him pretty low. I'll put him honestly. I'll put him below uh, the worst bounty
Toro
hunter kid of
Caligan.
all time.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
yeah.
Okay. Another easy like a bantha for me, Dr. Afra.
100% Dr. Afra. What a horrible person. I love everything about her.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Ventress. So Ventress, I mean, as a bounty hunter, I don't know if I'd put her up in like a bantha, but I think I would put her at least in I Don't Work for Free.
Yeah, I think she's she outclasses everyone, and she does the right thing. But if she didn't do the right thing and she was still more of her old ways, she would have easily taken that money and more.
Okay, Athgar Heese. Athgar Heese, another sequel character. Force Awakens. Not my favorite of the sequel Disney sequel designs. I prefer the next character to that. But Athgar he's nerf herder for me.
Yeah,
Orome Isileo.
I like the design a lot.
I like this character's design quite a bit too.
I'd say nerf herder. There's
Okay,
not
yeah,
much.
let's towards the top of the nerf herders, maybe
Yeah,
behind him days on. Or a
or a
Sing.
thing.
So particularly in my mind, I think I know who I want the last two like Abanthus to be, but I don't know if uh, you have the same thought. But Aura Singh would be towards the top of I Don't Work for Free for me.
Yeah, she's not like a banter for me. She's very good. Honestly, I'd put her just behind Han. Um, but I think she's kind of held back by betraying Boba and not getting away with it. You know, she's supposedly killed off by what's his name? Oh my god, it's the wrong
Beckett.
time to forget.
Yeah,
Tobias Beckett, right?
yeah,
Like, there's no there. Is that a real story? Is that true? Probably not. But if it is, that's kind of sad, honestly. So
yeah.
I'll put her there.
Okay, the Bad Batch. So the Bad Batch, we got to see a lot of the Bad Batch doing bounty hunter stuff.
Oh yeah.
Are they that good at it? Not necessarily. Uh,
I'd
are
say they're average. I say they're above average. I
Yeah, they
would.
definitely are above average. I'd say either top of the quack to call in Stifling Slimy or bottom of I don't work for free.
I will say I don't think they're not legendary. Like, and they have no intention of really being bounty hunters in the end. It's just what they have to do. I
Yeah.
think there's some sort of intentionality that you have to place ahead of like competence too sometimes.
Okay. Balatik. Good to see you. Balatik, he survives as well. He survives the Rathtar attack. Gets a lot of lines in that scene. Genuinely, that is one of my favorite scenes in The Force Awakens. Like, it's so
Yeah.
perfect Han Solo.
He's not better than Tasu Leech. He's like the worst sort of person that you're gonna find in like the worst projects. I will put him behind Tasu Leech. I think that's fair.
Okay, yeah. Leader of the Guavian Death Gang behind the Conja Club. Beckett. So Beckett, I go back and forth on Beckett because I like Woody Harrelson a lot and I like the portrayal of this character. I think it's a very, very, very safe stock character that is like exactly his journey goes exactly how I would have expected it to go in Solo. Doesn't mean I don't like him though, but I don't think I would put him at the top of Quackta, Cullen, Stifling, Slammy around there.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. That's fair.
Does get bonus
I
points for like having a lot of screen time.
also supposedly kill Aura Singh. I
Yes.
think it also helps that he literally is shot first by Han.
These next two would be my next two Lycobanthas, right? Our last two Lycobanthas, Boba Fett and Black
Yeah.
Chrysanthemum for me. We're
Ooh.
almost done, although it looks like we have a lot more. For some reason, it put a bunch of characters in, so we only have 5 more characters. Uh, so, yeah, I think out of the guys left, those would be my last two in
Oof.
Lycobantha.
Yeah. I think for Black Chrysanthemum, yeah, I think he's done just enough. And being the first ever comics to live action is a huge deal, right? It makes like fanatics like us feel like justified reading these comic books once more. Um, yeah, I agree. I think he's like a Bantha for sure.
Okay. And
And then
Boba Fett.
Boba's Boba.
Boba,
He's
it's the quote that he says. He's got to
yeah,
be there.
he's the king. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Boshik. Boshik,
I like him.
he
I
should
actually
get
do like
credit.
him.
Absolutely, he should get credit for being the first person Obi-Wan talks to about getting off of Mos Eisley. That
Yeah.
is, that he might have had some prestige there to where Obi-Wan's like, hey, oh gosh, this is Boshik. Like, oh wow, like I got to
Oh
get in
yeah.
touch with him.
I mean, hey, if we get a little cameo of a younger Boshik in Kenobi, right? Like one of the
That would be
patrons
awesome.
of Mos Eisley, he's just a dude, and he's just like, you know what, I I I do what I need to do, and I'm here. And he's not necessary. And I think there's one thing to be said: if you can look nice in a group of people that are the worst in the galaxy, that doesn't mean that you're nice either. It
Right.
just means that you're the most approachable and that's what you project. So I think he's a good businessman in that sense too.
Okay, Bosk. I don't work for free.
For sure. He's pretty up there.
Yeah, definitely. Uh,
I want to say ahead behind IG88, but ahead of Hondo. I think
okay,
that's
I'm fine
fair.
with that. All right. We got Bausch. The comic was good.
Yeah, I really like that whole family.
Yeah, I'd say middle tier.
Let's
Quacta.
put him. I think Bausch should be. I think. Actually, I'll put him above 4. I think that's fair.
Okay, so the next one is for LOM again, and then we have Brainy, who doesn't do very much.
It's kind of
Brainy
annoying,
and
honestly.
Brainy Brick's in here too somewhere. Yeah, this design is not my favorite. It's just a giant brain. Uh, I'd put him in either the second bottom or the bottom tier.
Yeah, I put him there.
Okay, so the next one is Brick. If we skip a man again,
Yeah.
Brick's a little better because he's got lines, a lot of lines. He does
I
help
mean,
train the clones.
he does trash on heavy, but it works out in the end. So,
Yeah, he's the tough love teacher type of thing. Bolduga. It's
oh,
cool
okay.
Athorian design from the box episode.
But kind of
Again,
dies in a pretty quick way.
yeah, exactly. Scruffy looking nerf herder.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, I'll put him behind our accountant,
Not the accountant, not Mosip by need.
High Singer.
High Singer is very, very cool.
Cool design. Star Wars 1313 would have made him such a huge character, but that didn't happen. Hmm. I don't know, because it kind of just feels like a big droid bodyguard for Boba in the Clone Wars instead of like own character.
Yeah.
But it's such a great design. Mm,
I don't think I could put him above 4 LOM or the Bad Batch necessarily though. So I put him quacked maybe in front of Nakana Lash. Okay, so yeah, I did not realize we still had this one left. So I'm definitely dropping Black Chrysanthemum out of the top 5.
yeah.
Cad Bane's like my number 1 or 2 for me personally.
Yeah. Cad
Um,
Bane is he's my 3. I won't lie. He's
and
my
Django.
3. I think if you can't beat the father and you definitely can't beat the son, yeah,
Yeah, I guess
I
if
can
we're going
definitely
by
3.
yeah, if we're going by competency for sure.
Yeah.
My favorite character, I like him better than he's more I have more of a connection to him personally than I do Django or Boba.
No, he's a better character than Django, but I think he's not necessarily a better bounty hunter. Yeah.
Castus. So this is Castus, friend of Boba Fett and Aura Singh in the Clone Wars season. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like him that much. I'd put him down.
I'd say scruffy looking nerf herder.
Yeah.
I'd put him behind the accountant. He doesn't rub me the right way, even as a bounty hunter.
No, yeah. And the accountant is one of the best characters of all time.
Of
So
course, of course.
uh, okay, so we got one of my favorite names in Star Wars, Cato Parasiti, who for classic like Star Wars, take a word that means a bad thing and turn it into a name. Um,
Yeah.
okay, I like this character's like this character gets a bit more screen time than Sam, but I don't think has the impact Sam has. Put
Yeah.
her in Quacta.
Yeah, I'll put her at low tier Quackta.
Chewbacca. So Chewbacca gets dragged down by Han Solo for me in terms of like his competency as a smuggler. I feel like Chewbacca, if he's out on his own, he would be doing like
He'd probably be
way
dominant.
better.
He would be Black Chrysanthemum's equal, but he's
Absolutely.
he's just like, oh, life oath, and I'm just like, to this dude. But I guess that's
Yeah, he
true.
gets stuck following Han. If he
Yeah,
didn't follow Han, he'd probably be like the #1 guy in the galaxy. But
he still does rip people's arms off though, which is pretty freaking
true.
cool. So, and
So
that
he's definitely
bowcaster is mean.
he's definitely at the top of I don't work for free.
Yeah,
Okay, what else we've got here? I think it's Danik Jericho is next. Smoking in the cantina. He's the only guy that looks like he's smoking in the cantina, breaking all the rules.
it's not the
And
greatest design in my
no, it's
opinion.
not. It's not a very good design at all. It's just a human with like tentacles coming out of his face.
I'd
Yeah,
put him behind our groupie little lady here.
Dengar. So Dengar,
Dengar's up there.
Dengar is definitely for me, and I don't work for free. Do we put him ahead of? I don't think he's like
Well,
as effective as somebody like Bosk or IG88 or Valance. Darrowin. I think that's a cool design, even if it's like a little on the nose. It looks like a mushroom fungus type of thing. But
is this the tentacle guy? Because we have like a
yeah,
Jedi Master like that in the High Republic.
we
I thought it was
do.
a pretty interesting. They hibernate, so we know this guy definitely could have hibernated during a mission.
Absolutely. Yeah, he needs his sleep. I'm thinking nerf herder for me personally, but maybe
Yeah.
bottom of Quackta.
Nah, I'm feeling Nerf Herder. I would put him around here. Like he's up there, but he's nothing crazy. Cause cool design and all, but
Yeah. Okay, so one of our newest bounty hunters, Deva Lompop.
I don't know, man. She looks sick. She's got High Republic connections. She calls Boba Fett a pup. Jabba knows her and owes her for so many things. She's almost got this sort of poison ivy looking
Yeah.
like space that she lives in. She's good looking. I mean, all these things are there to her character, but she doesn't feel developed enough yet for me to be
No.
anything more than quacked. Honestly, she's pretty low quacked for me right now.
Din Djarin is next, and Din Djarin is, I don't know. He's not the most competent bounty hunter, but I mean, it's hard to put him anywhere below. I don't
But he
work for
gets
free.
he gets the job done. And the fact that
He
he
does.
has a dark saber now, and literally
Yeah.
will have like horror stories following around on planets of a dude with a black blade of energy chopping off limbs and heads, like that's like a horror story, right? Like he, even if he looks clumsy and dumb to us at times, right? That's how he kind of looks like to other Mandalorians, but for the rest of us, he looks like someone who's fearless, he's impossible to take down. Like, and look, he flew through a crate dragon and just exploded
This
from the
is true.
inside, beat him off, right? Like, has connections with some of the greatest Jedi of all time. You got to give him. I don't work for free easily.
Yeah, he's definitely there. I don't think
Do
he has.
we? Ooh, I would put him against above Han, honestly, at this point. No,
I
that's
think he'll.
I
I think he'll end up there in terms of competency at some
I,
point. But
yeah, behind Chewbacca. I think that's fair.
okay, so our next one is Dr. Ebazon, who has the death sentence on 12 systems.
Or 11, if we're really considering Jakku, or even 10. This man doesn't really keep track of his numbers.
Uh, I don't know. I might put him in I don't work for free. This guy,
He's got
he
a
is
pretty
kind of,
gnarly story in the comics, yeah.
yeah, he's got a history, you know. LS from Clone Wars, also one of the people who trains the clones, or at least our Domino Squad group. He's kind of soft to me for a bounty hunter. Like he's too
Yeah.
nice at times. I think. I
He's
mean,
not
obviously
my
you like
favorite
him.
design either. It's just,
No, well, he's a him Dazon. I think same species, right? Just green.
right.
Um, and him Dazon got his head popping up in that scene since 1977. I might put him behind him Dazon.
I think that's a pretty fair thing. It's sad that you can be the same species but be less effective even as a verbal character than the original.
Okay, here's one of my favorite characters of all
Oh,
time.
like a bantha, of course.
Yeah, we can make an exception and put a sixth character like a bantha for Elon Sleazebag. Uh,
Nah.
I mean, he's not the most competent drug dealer, but I mean, he has the guts to go up against Obi-Wan, right? Like he sees a Jedi, it's obviously a Jedi. He goes up and he talks to this Jedi and tries to sell him drugs. Like, I mean, you got to have some
I mean,
stones to do that.
honestly, as a kid, I didn't really. I was like, "That's so dumb. Like, why would you do that? Like, that's so silly and hilarious." But as more of a grownish man at this point, I realized that if you look at a dude who's probably like has legends and stories of them, like doing all these crazy things, that I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's got some guts. He's
I
got
would put
some
him.
guts.
I'll put him behind Deva. I think that's fair.
Okay.
I think he's a quackta for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a bantha in my heart.
but
Embo.
oh,
The
such a
Embos at
cool
least I don't
design.
work for free.
Oh,
I mean, we've
such a
already
cool
filled up
design.
our banthas, but Embo is awesome. I love this character.
Embo's like one
Probably
of those characters that's okay with losing too, and he's got that cool pup as well. So, kind of
absolutely
works out
probably
for
my
him.
favorite design. Like my in with Cad Bane, my favorite bounty hunters made post like Empire Strikes Back,
Oh yeah.
uh, and
I honestly want to put him ahead of Aura Singh, honestly.
oh yeah,
Like
I'd put
he
him.
feels like
Like
some.
right next to Black Chrysanthemum, maybe
Oh, up
ahead of.
there.
Yeah, I think he's awesome.
Oh.
He's
Yeah,
got like,
honestly, he's respectable. He is really respectable. Yeah.
and if he got a live action appearance, I think people would be going crazy for it. Like he's got so many tools. He's got like the
Well, his species
Kung
has gotten a
Lao
live action
hats.
appearance, right? I
Yeah,
want to.
but in Mandalorian, but
Right, right.
the
But
Kung
the
Lao
helmet,
hat, like
the
like
helmet.
the
Oh
blaze
my,
saw type of
jeez.
thing, Captain America shield style, bowcaster. Yeah, I love that character. Efant Mon.
Oh god.
Efant Mon also has a toy in Jabba's palace. I mean, I would put him below Mosep Biney, and I would because I think the Crime Lord's accountant does a lot for your organization.
I I'd say just because of the High Republic Jedi Master, I'm gonna keep this guy here. I'll put him right behind him, just because I know that species is capable of some really weird moments.
All right, sounds good. Feltburn Travag. He's a Godel.
It's a Godel. That's true.
Love the name of the species. Doesn't do much for me. It's kind of like smooth talking someone in the cantina.
Actually, he's kind of climbing. I forget. He's a pretty decent furry creature. I'll put him here.
Finnick Shan. So Finnick,
Master Assassin.
Master Assassin. We've gotten a lot of story with her over the last few years. I don't see anybody in Quacta that I think she shouldn't be higher than. So I would definitely put her in I Don't Work for Free. Maybe
But
right behind Ventress.
yeah, she is pretty low tier. Like she's interchangeable with Dengar. Like
Yeah.
she's unfortunately she was the exposition dump in Boba Fett, and it
Yeah.
wasn't great either. But when she got to kill people, it was vicious. I was like, great, that's Fennec. Otherwise, it was just like, oh, she's kind of annoyed. She's just eating food.
Greedo. We finally got into Greedo. Greedo.
I'm
So
saying I don't work for free, honestly, straight up.
you think so?
Just
He,
because of the fact that he's going to be in the Han Solo comics now, in the new
yeah,
series that's coming out.
but we don't
And
know. We don't know what he's gonna do. He does get
I'm,
killed immediately.
but he is also the one sent to kill Han, right? He's
That's
got to
true. He
be
must have
somewhat
some
competent.
prestige.
And he is a quick draw. We do know that he slightly shoots in canon wise, maybe like a 0.003 faster than Han does, right?
And
Like,
but he doesn't have very good accuracy because it
and
misses.
no. Are you really going to tell me the guy who says McClunky doesn't get to be, I don't work
I
for
forgot
free?
about Clunky. Clunky.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put him. He is iconic.
Yeah. I'd say behind Dengar. He
Okay,
barely cracks it. I think that's fair.
I'll give into that for sure. And then the
Yeah.
last person I believe we have on here scanning this again is Grief Karga. I mean, I like him better than I think of Beckett, but I don't know if we haven't really seen him like do anything besides like organized jobs.
But
Um,
he's pretty good at it. You have to admit,
he is good at
he's a
it.
bit of a sweet talker. I feel like if Beckett had his skills of conversation, he would be alive, but he doesn't. I think that's my argument for having him at the very top of Quacta.
Okay, yeah, I like him better than Beckett, so I would
And
put him.
you're not in that position without climbing your way up, unless it's nepotism. But he doesn't really seem like that sort of guy.
No, he's not the Navarro, the Prince of Navarro. Well, that's our tier list. So thank you all so much for watching. The comment below, let us know what you thought of these tiers, which characters you like. Maybe you're a big fan of Mosep Biney. Maybe in another world he could be an S tier. Who knows? But thank you for watching. Hit that like button down below. Comment, let us know. Subscribe for Star Wars Lads content minimum 3 days a week. If you haven't followed us on social media, follow us at Star Wars Lads on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can listen to our podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, but you can also watch our videos now on Spotify video podcasts. So we are going to be uploading there. And if you're finding us on Spotify video podcasts, you can watch us on YouTube. That's where we post all of our content as well, and all of our content that we've done over the last year and a half has been uploaded to YouTube. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on Friday for the next episode of Star Wars Lads.